Hey guys, Disloader Magic here, and I'm still selling off the last little bit of singles from what I opened of Guilds of Ravnica, and I'm noticing a couple cards very unexpectedly went up in price. And I figured I'd share them with you because if you were sitting on these, well, in the last 48 hours to 1 week, the price has changed dramatically. Now this first one breaks the mold a little bit. It's Doom Whisperer. Everybody knew this was a good card, except apparently for most of the sellers on basically every website. So looking at just the pre-order prices, we're talking like middle of September. Everyone had it at 10 to 11. I mean, I thought, okay, yeah, 10 to 11. I mean, you can surveil twice unlimited times. That's crazy, both in standard and out of standard. But after looking at the three major cards that say every time you surveil blah, this should have went up a lot. Well, the good news is, right around the end of September, it hit 20 bucks and it's been 20 bucks ever since. In fact, I'd say it hit 19 and lately it's been 20 to 21. So that is just about double. I mean, I would have said it's worth about 15, but it really comes down to how broken is it? And it's pretty broken. I mean, not a lot of people are playing with it on Arena, but that's not a proper cross-section of the meta because, well, it's only been 2 weeks and nobody's opened anything. In other words, you can't just build whatever you want at this point. Oh, before I say the next one, it looks like Assassin's Trophy is floating in around $20 on eBay right now and falling daily. That's probably because it's not nearly as good as people think it is in Standard. It's amazing in other formats, but yeah, who would have thought that getting rid of one of your opponent's permanents doesn't really make up for the fact that you just gave them another land. They're just going to run you over twice as hard unless it's late game and they don't need the land. I've had people lose entire games on Arena because they played Assassin's Trophy and then, oh look, my 5th land, and then I just win. So yeah, I mean, I think the people who are picking it up already picked it up or they're waiting for the price to drop because they know it will. I would sell every copy you got. It's not going to go up for, boy, at least 6 months to a year, probably longer. So that's the loser of the video, but let's move on to the next crazy winner. We've got Pelt Collector, which, boy, did this card go crazy. This card was pre-ordering at about $2, $2.50, sometimes even $3 if somebody thought, it's a 1/1 for one that does something neat, that's got to do something. Turns out it does, because as of the start of October, it hit $15. Now it's cooled off a little bit because people are opening a large amount and selling them off. It's closer to $9 to $10 right now. But it depends where you look. I mean, Card Kingdom has it for 11 because they know it's a really good card and it probably shouldn't sell for below 11. So this one, it's good in Standard, but it's one of those ones where it's almost exclusively just an automatic drop-in into some Modern and Commander decks, maybe even Legacy. I don't know. I don't really know what format. I just know, I mean, look what it does. It goes in something. If you have a deck in some format and it drops in a lot of stuff and then sometimes that stuff gets blown up and you want, like, a replacement Tarmogoyf for one, I mean, drop in 2 creatures and get them killed and ta-da, you've got a Tarmogoyf. Oh, except this one has Trample. I mean, this card is really good. In fact, just in a Saproling deck, it's pretty nuts. In a Green Rush deck, I've seen it. I don't think it's a good idea because a lot of the cards in there cost 5 and 6. But it's certainly, playable in some Standard decks and obviously, like I said, other formats. So watch for this one to stay pretty hot. I think, yeah, it spiked and then people are like, whoa, and real quick sold some off. But I think when the supply dries up, it's going to go up a little bit more. This is only going to go in more and more and more things, and this is just an absolute must in certain Commander decks. Next up is Risk Factor. I think people knew this would be good, but it's so good that it went up. Another $2.50, maybe $3 card from the past, and now it's on its way up. It's going up by about $1 a day. It's currently sitting at around $6, depending upon where you look. I've actually seen it even higher. So if somebody starts selling down to like their last couple playsets, they're going to raise the price, and they should. So if you need one, grab it, and if you got one, hold on a couple days. I mean, it's 4 damage for 3 at instant speed. That's already pretty darn good. That can just outright finish the game, and 3 is pretty reasonable. But then also, it fills the place in some kind of red-heavy archetype that Bomat Courier left. This is a reload your hand card, and it has jumpstart, so that could be 8 damage under the right circumstances. I mean, it's like automatic flashback or buyback. I mean, you just ditch a card and ta-da, more damage. Or more cards. Either way you win, and then every time you cast a spell, blah happens. Gutter Snipe. The Gutter Snipe wall. Some kind of horrific charged counter storm trash. It just fits into every red deck, so I think we won't see this stop until it hits about 10. So next up we got March of the Multitudes. Now no surprise here that this card is good, but there is a little bit more to this. So It's a mythic. Yeah, it costs, 3 plus X, but it's Convoke, so I mean, does cost even mean anything anymore? And this is the Convoke mythic. I mean, you bring out just flood creatures, all of them with lifelink, very, very, very difficult to lose the game at that point. And even for like X equals 2, this isn't terrible. It depends how valuable the creatures are out that you use to convoke it. When you start getting into 3, 4, or 5, it's crazy. And then if you were to dump like 10 into this, watch out. So in a flood-based traditional Convoke deck, this would be awesome. The problem is, Convoke decks are garbage. They are very not competitive in the meta. I mean, they're okay. They're just a really bad matchup for anything else that's popular right now, basically. There's just too much control. A lot of the guilds are pure control colors, and then there's draw to back it up. So it's too slow. It's too, build up. Too sensitive to having a bunch of Convoke cards and nothing to convoke them with in your opening hand, and they don't play around control at all. There's a couple creatures you have to kill twice, but so what? I mean, it's just dead on arrival, basically. So this was always like a $5, $6 card, and then all of a sudden October rolled around, October 1st, maybe the 2nd, boom, $18 card. Once again, people started selling them because, well, I mean, what the release date was. This was a pre-release price. When they actually start selling, everything drops pretty much, except for apparently that red card I just mentioned. Yeah, that one's still going up. There's no amount of supply that can put that price down. But yeah, it's a mythic. I mean, it's on people's radar. They're pulling it. They're setting it aside. They're like, oh, a mythic. So, But from what I'm hearing, this is going in mostly commander decks, but maybe even some weird, obscure modern stuff. I mean, you could almost even put this in humans. I mean, technically, it could go into anything that runs creatures and a large amount of them, because you get out this many tokens. Not everyone is running sweepers. Not everybody even has it in the sideboard. And especially in modern, how are you supposed to get rid of that many creatures? People don't prepare for that because people don't get out that many creatures. And if they do, it's probably an infinite number of them. What really puts it over the top, because token dump is just kind of blah, vanilla, whatever, and you might just stall the game out for 5 turns and lose anyway after blocking a whole bunch. It's the lifelink. The lifelink puts this card over the top, and the fact that you can convoke stuff into the colored portion. That's pretty important. Still, it's extremely color locked. You'd have to be running those colors or a reasonable way to filter them or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think it's that good, but right now today it's sitting at about 13, 14, 15 bucks. I don't know. I mean, it's a little gimmicky. It doesn't by itself win the game. It just kind of drops out a very impossible board state that you might win with later, but it's still good. So I would say if you're holding one, probably do sell it. I just don't see it being good enough to go any higher than this, and in standard it's only in just a couple decks. And the last one, this is not technically a Guilds of Ravnica card, but I wanted people to know that this is happening. Hey, remember when mono-white or black-white mixed knights was the bomb deck back in, I don't know, probably May? Well, the number one best card in it was History of Benalia. This thing hit so much money. I think at peak it was 20 to 25, somewhere in that range. I've even heard numbers as high as 30, but it depends on who you're looking at. Yeah, you get 2 free creatures, and then they get +2/+1, and then anything else that's a knight gets a boost from it as well. And I don't know why, and I'm convinced that at this point, Wizards doesn't know why. This isn't legendary. I've had people stack 2 of these so often, I'm sick of this card, I hate it. It's just a nuisance to play around. It's just powerful enough to be annoying without being broken, not even close. But yeah, right around the end of May, it was going down. We're talking 25, 50 cents a day, and middle of September, we're talking a $9, $10 card. So I guess people were over it. It couldn't really beat what was in the meta. I mean, Red Rush and Blue-White Control, it just wasn't quite good enough. It wasn't as good as either of those decks. It was good, though. Well, I mean, Dominaria, the set that it mostly worked with, nothing cycled out, obviously, and now we've got some really good white-black cards that got added. I know, weird. Orzhov wasn't even in this set. It's in the next one. So, watch for that, by the way, but as of literally 2 days ago, it went from about 11 bucks average to 25. Word is somebody found something to do with it outside of standard, but also in standard it's really good, and that's a perfect storm. It's a mythic. People already knew about it. It was on people's radar for being powerful, so it's more back to its peak price, although technically, according to the actual numbers, it has exceeded it. And honestly, whether it's in another side format or not, I mean, it seems kind of odd with how long ago it came out, so I find that part of the story a little bit skeptical, but this is in mono white because, of course, it's in white knights, white black knights, white black mix, white life gain, white black life gain. It's obviously in any kind of Selesnya Convoke deck. I've seen it in Boros. It somehow slots into that perfectly, I guess, with Mentor. I mean, a couple of the Mentor creatures are actually knights, so I mean, it does work. And then I've also seen people play it in control decks. Kind of strange. I think I saw it in like a black-white zombie heavy semi-infinite but not really loop deck. That was weird. But it's all about the death triggers, the value, and the early game, and that's what this is. So it always has been a really good card, and now it's back. Remember, the key to this card is that you get a free creature that you pay 0 mana for on the turn after it came out, while probably leaving the original one because it didn't have haste. The next turn after that, they get boosted, so if somebody has to burn some kind of removal on it, you're probably just going to win late game, and you still got your entire mana the very next turn. Yeah, that's completely self-contained and fits into absolutely anything. So that's it for the huge spikes, but there was 2 kind of honorary mentions, and one is still kind of in the process of going up. First, we've got Ionized because duh, it's in Izzet, and Izzet is one of the best decks in Standard right now. I mean, people think they're clever with some other stuff, but this is going to rise above because it's control and draw mixed. I mean, duh. I mean, you get a Gutter Snipe out in an Electromancer, you end up countering somebody's spell at a discount and then dealing damage to them. Well, what's the perfect card to go into a deck like that? Ionize. It counters a spell, and then deals damage to the person, and then probably also deals even more damage to them. This is it in card form, and it's a counterspell that costs 3. So, I mean, it's perfectly reasonable. So far, it's only gone from about $2 early on to about $3.50 to $4 now, but, you know, it can't go that much higher because it only works in Izzet. But Izzet's going to go pretty far, so just keep your eye on this one, and if you have some and you wrote it off as, oh, practically bulk jank, whatever, no. And next up, pretty much the same card for the same reason, Sinister Sabotage. The only thing holding this back is it's double blue, but is that any worse than 1 blue, 1 red? Yes, mathematically it is in a dual color Izzet deck, but still. You counter any spell and then surveil 1 to get cards you don't need out of your way. I mean, this was always a 33-cent card, maybe 50, depending upon what the floor is, basically, wherever you're buying it. And real recently, people are like, oh yeah, this actually is a good card, and it's floating in around $1. So that is already tripling in price. Obviously, that's pretty darn good for an uncommon. That may actually make it the most expensive uncommon in the set, actually, come to think of it. So I wanted to mention it. Keep your eyes on it because, I mean, it's still a counterspell. It's not the world's greatest card, but I could see it maybe hitting $2. And at that point, you might be able to get 75 cents to $1 on a buy list for these, and you probably have a lot because they're uncommon. So, you know, maybe throw them in your trade binder. You could get some good trades if you're not interested in playing Dimir or Izzet. I mean, the card is basically Dissolve or Dissipate or whichever one of those was Counter and then Scry, and that card was very popular in its time as well. So that's it for the price changes, but I will update you guys on any other trends because I'm not like the MTG Finance channel here telling people what to do buyouts of on a large scale. I'm just saying, hey, if you got this in your binder, it's worth triple. Hey, if you wanted one of these, you know, too late, or hey, get them now, or, you know, whatever. Just trying to help out the average player save some money or make a little bit of money on the side. So thanks for watching, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this, and I will see you guys next video.